ado, I'm gonna stop yapping. Felton Kizer.
Woo! 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 That was great. Hello.
Right to go, right?
Right to go. Hello.
Hello.
Do I need this? Can you all hear me?
I want to.
May I?
Yes.
Yeah, you need it? Okay, heard. I know. Oh, I hate it. Okay. You know, I really wish I had one of those like pop star mics, like Britney. Is it all right if I stand in front of? Okay, fab. So I'm going to walk. Just a heads up. I get anxious a lot. I'm also I tap a lot. So walking like helps me with that. So yeah, I'm going to talk to you all. Actually, we are going to be in conversation, if that's okay with you all. I hope that's okay. Yeah. Okay, fab, great, I love that. So I am going to look to you all to help me with this. This does not work without you, because if not, I could just be at home sleeping. Listen, I am a Taurus sun, Leo rising, Libra moon. I literally love like being at home, but also like being in front of people. It's very confusing. It's so confusing. I promise you, I confuse myself. It's like, do I want to be a hermit or like a comic? I don't know. But I guess being an entrepreneur somewhere like in the middle. So great, we love that. Okay, so good morning. My name is Felton Kizer. I use he, him pronouns. I am at base an entrepreneur. Growing up, I think I decided that was like the thing at like 16 going into 17, right? So I decided that at that age. I also decided that I was going to just like fall in love with pop culture and not like feel weird about it. My mother grew up in the 70s. Her name is Honey. But this is me. Since we're talking about Grove, I'm just like, okay, well, also I had an idea that I wouldn't know a lot of people in here, so I was like, this could go like really bad, but if I show a baby photo, they have to be nice to me because you have to talk to that person, okay? So think about that, all right? So yeah. But I think this is my favorite photo of myself. And I mean, outside of today in the all black fit, I typically still dress like that. I promise you, I always have some sort of like bright tie and a shirt that's always buttoned to the top. That just always made sense to me. I'm just like, my neck gets cold, so you know, we have to protect that. So yeah, this is who I am. So my formal title at Monday Coffee, I am the CCO / co-founder. Originally, that title stood for Chief Creative Officer. I have then transitioned that title to Central Creative Officer. The word chief is not anything that's connected to my life or my history, so that just doesn't make sense for me to utilize that. And yeah, I would feel weird if someone adopted something that did not belong to me. Adopted something that belonged to me and my family. And so, you know, that's just my personal vibes. And I'm like, yeah, I don't. Also, because I'm a co-founder, I can actually do that. I was like, actually, who made this word anyway? I'm like, oh, some man. I was like, well, however, because I am a man, I'm also going to just make words too then. I'm like, you know what? I'm going to bestow the privilege that I do have. And my title is now Central Creative Officer. I like that because I'm in the center, but I'm also in the center of all of my work. So it just sort of makes sense to me. So yes, also some things to know, I think in circles. And that was something that I was always afraid to say because that felt like that was wrong, just because the way I feel like the world is presented to me in boxes. And I was like, that like scared me, right? Like the ideas of being trapped, right? I don't know where the fear of being trapped came from, but I've always had this fear, right? Even though I had a lot of freedom as a child to do whatever I wanted, somewhere along the lines, the fear of being trapped was there. So I was like, circles don't make me feel trapped, but they make me feel protected, right? Like I feel like I have full like reins to explore all around. And it's like, if I could do that, then I'm like, I'm gonna be tired, you know? So I'm like, that feels like a good run for me. But thinking about like a square, a rectangle, it's like once I meet this corner, where do I go, right? And so I think in circles. I talk in circles, I create in circles, I do a lot of things in circles, but I dress very boxy though. And that's very interesting. Even my haircut is very boxy, right? Because I was like, oh, I knew that I had a round face growing up, right? And I was like, as a photographer, I paid a lot of attention to faces. I still do, right? I think that is something that I learned by being a yearbook photographer in high school, right? I paid attention to faces, right? And faces, to me, are the most important features that we carry. It's also very unique. But that's kind of also why I love like cosmetic surgery. Like, it's so cool. Like, it is. Like, ethics aside and, you know, everything else, however, the artistic, like mind. Okay. One of my favorite films is The Skin I'm In by Antonio Banderas, yes. Very traumatizing, but cosmetic surgeon, one of the first to do, somebody correct me if I'm saying this wrong, but I think in the film, he was the first to do a gender reassignment. I think that was his thing, right? And so, dark film, but cinematography, I fell in love with cosmetic surgery because I'm like, that is gorgeous, right? To be able to sculpt a human person, kind of creepy, but beautiful, really cool. But that idea of individuality and how we construct ourselves also started to be planted at that same time that I started to gain my visual language, right? Because my relationship with like visual started as a child because of my mother, right? My mother's name is Honey Harris. If you ever see her, well, you will hear her before you see her, okay? True Chicago just had a conference and my mother attended. She asked every question there was to think of. And I'm just like, oh, that makes sense why I'm like this. Definitely got it from her, but I also got my visual language from her as well, right? Like I remember my first CD was Rapture by Anita Baker, right? So it's like music shaped that visual language because I don't draw well at all. This is the extent of me drawing, writing things on my iPad with the like crayon. That's what you got. In the heart, that is me, okay? So save that. But I saw things, didn't know how to create them. Then I found out about photography. And the way I think about photography, I'm just copying what I see, which is why photography never felt like something that I mastered or owned, but also the idea of like owning something was always problematic for me, but I don't know about y'all. But that idea to master something never felt like something that I wanted, something that I needed. So the idea of like a jack of all trades and a master of none, I heard that and I was like, well, I don't want to master anything. So it kind of makes sense. But when you think about a jack, that feels like a goofy. Like that doesn't seem like something that you like, that doesn't seem like a compliment. That always read as slightly an insult, right? Like you don't know what you want. You can't make a decision. And that always made me feel weird because what if I want it all? Can I not have that? Exactly, right? So going back to my mother, when I was young, my mother told me that I could do anything that I wanted. And I believed her. And so 5 years ago, I embarked on a journey that I never thought that I would do, and that's coffee. I hated coffee about 5 years ago. I was like, this is nasty. I'm just like, why do y'all do this? I'm just like, you're gross. You know, I'm just like, that's like nasty to me, right? Mind you, my very first introduction to coffee was like the Starbucks prepackaged at Walgreens. My grandmother, lovely woman from New Orleans, used to drink that down. That and her Newports. And I was like, oh, this is nasty. I was like, I don't want none of this. But 5 years ago, the pandemic happened. And my life as a photographer that I knew was over. But photography was my entire identity. Like, I didn't exist outside of that. And so when literally the government is telling me that, oh, you can't be around people, but that's all that I know, as a portrait photographer, that was everything to me. And I lost a part of myself that I thought was my whole self. And it wasn't until like that literally died, right? I've had to mourn, not just like my job, my career, I mourned my identity. And I was like, oh, I don't know what to do with this. And at that time, I was like, you know, I'm good, right? I was like, I did the thing, right? I'm like, if this is it, like, you know, like, it makes sense, right? And then I thought about, I didn't even think about it. I was talking to one of my good friends at the time, and we were just chatting, and I'm just like, I'm so just like upset like with brands, right? I'm upset with brands because all these protests were happening, right? And I'm like, I'm upset with all these brands, right? That, and Red Bull to be specific, right? I'm like, I'm upset because Red Bull was all, you know, before all the protests and, you know, like this very like global, like light on like the injustice in Black communities. I was like, Red Bull was all up in our neighborhoods, right? Sponsoring all these events, doing all of this, but I mean, shit, they could at least be at the protest giving people Red Bulls. I'm like, we need energy, right? I'm like, maybe not Red Bull, maybe water in Red Bull, I don't know, but like, they could be doing something, right? I'm like, why aren't they doing something, right? Like, why aren't they showing up, right? Like, they want us to show up for them, why aren't they showing up for us? And I was just upset and angry at everyone. And I was like, no, what people actually need is cold brew. And I was like, coffee's Black anyway, so I'm like, duh. I'm just like, actually? And I was like, yeah, wait, how come nobody's giving cold brew? And I'm just like, Amanda, we should just go to pop-ups and give people cold brew. I'm like, it's literally Black. Like, it literally just makes so much sense. And that was the spark, right? It was the realization that coffee was Black. And I was like, oh shit, I don't think people know this. And then I immediately thought about like the SNL skit, I'm like, Beyonce's Black. I'm like, people don't know that coffee is Black. That is why they hate Black people so much. I'm like, but if they knew, then it's like, yeah, because we all know that like America, you know, runs on Dunkin', right? Which really means that America runs on coffee, right? But because coffee is also not American, so America runs on immigrants. I'm just saying like nothing about coffee is American. Where can you grow? There, I think Jason Mraz is growing coffee in California. EXO, like, love him down, but like, come on, BB, you just gotta stop. Just certain things we should just stop, right? And I think before we can even understand Monday coffee, before we can understand coffee, we have to understand that coffee is Black. The birthplace of coffee is Ethiopia. Without Ethiopia, there's no coffee, right? But furthermore, without the Sufis, so without Black Muslims, there's no coffee in America, right? So, but first coffee. And so, speaking of coffee, I would love 4 volunteers to help me order a cup of coffee. May I have 4 people to raise their hand, please, to volunteer? So now you do have to speak aloud. Okay. So 4, okay? 1, 3, and 2, okay? So, these are my 4 questions, right? If you've ever come to Monday Coffee, I don't know a lot of you, so I'm gonna say a lot of you have not been to Monday Coffee, so you all should come. We're open every day, not just on Mondays. However, on Mondays, for our members, we're open 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. So if you like a 12-hour workday, talk to me. So these are the 4 questions I ask you if you come to my bar and you don't know what you want, right? So before we get into these 4 questions, who knows the saying, right? Like there's no I in team, right? right? We know that, right? What does that mean? Anybody?
You gotta work together.
You gotta work together? Okay, cool. So yeah, I learned that, heard that, understood that, and I resonate deeply with that. But I think because I understood that so well, I forgot a very important piece, right? And that was the I piece, right? Because there's no I in team, but there is an I in leadership, right? And so and I didn't understand that, right? Because I knew, I'm like, yes, there's no I in team, teamwork, but it's but if I'm leading, right? But if I don't have a perspective, right? If I don't know where we're going, what we're doing, if I don't know where we stand, right? Where are we going? And for a really long time, I thought that I was doing all my teams such a great service by removing myself. And I realized that I became a brand instead of a man, right? Because when growing up, it wasn't about what type of man, right, I wanted to be. It was what was needed, right? And I think a lot about obligation versus desire. And I didn't really understand that until I started ordering coffee. Number one. Yeah.
How much caffeine do I need? Just a little bit, but I'm really here to socialize and work from the shop.
Are you going to ask me how much caffeine do I need?
I thought I was going to say it.
You're taking my order. You're taking my order.
Oh, sorry.
No, it's all good.
So I'm working out Monday right now?
Exactly.
How much caffeine do you need?
Not a lot.
Okay. Okay.
But thank you so much for asking. When I first asked you for that question, I know a lot of people thought that was so aggressive, right? How much caffeine do you need? And I was just but for me, I need to know where you are, right? Because you know where you are, but I don't. I don't know who you are. I don't know what happened before you got here. I don't know where you're going, right? But in this 15-second engagement, I am the most important person in your life and you are the most important person in mine. Because I have something that you want, because you came here for a reason. You left your home or wherever you were to come here to be in my face. So you want something, you need something. And I want to help you get there. Next question.
What kind of milk would you like?
Oat milk. Always. Now, some things really great with dairy, but I know that I can't handle that, right? But I desire it sometimes, but I can't handle it. So I desire a lot of things, but some things I just can't handle. So it's how do we make that decision? Right? What's that? Do we listen to our gut? Or do we listen to something else? I don't know. You tell me. Third question.
How sweet do you like it?
Generally, I don't want sweet at all. Generally, I just want it black. I'm just give it to me. But today, I need some sugar. It's hard, right? I need some comfort. I need a hug, right? I think it's important to let people know what you need. Because if you don't let them know, how will you get it? Next question.
Hot or ice?
Iced always, except when it's cold and I don't have gloves. Did you know that coffee doubles as a hand warmer? I promise you. Who needs a Stanley cup when you got literally, and it's a drinkable, oven mitt sort of vibe. It's so great. What, come on, you have caffeine, it's warm. Oh, it's so great. I love this question, well, because most time it only comes iced. So do you accept it or do you get something else? I don't know. It's like if you came in wanting something hot, but the thing that you saw that was cool is only ice, do you pivot or do you stand where you are? Like, how important is that for you, right? Are you in a space to pivot? Does it still feel good to pivot? Or are you settling? Order up. So here are just a visual memory journey of Monday Coffee. This was during our first residency. We had 3 at the same time. And we just took over bars or spaces that were empty post 2020. So at this time, we were at the Garfield Park Conservatory, Soho House, Chicago, and then Retreat at the Currency Exchange down on the south side with the Astor Gates. And then that is my lovely co-founder in the middle, Amanda Christine Harth. And then here are just some of my favorite visual moments from Monday Coffee. The thing that I love about this brand so much is that I've just been able to play visually and just shoot coffee in a way that's fun, in a way that's exciting, in a way that's just not so like cute and like easy, because my life ain't cute and easy all the time, you know? And then this is one of our proudest moments, releasing our cold brew concentrate. So we bottled cold brew concentrates in 2 ounces. It's similar to a double shot of espresso. And then we were able to fundraise with our community $125,000. And that helped open our cafe that we just celebrated 1 year on last week. And then when people ask me what's next, right? Like, what's the next thing? What's the next shop I want to open? There will not be another Monday Coffee in Chicago. Our location in North Lawndale will be the only location that we have because that is our home, right? I roast our coffee there. I am smack dab in the middle of Black Americans and Mexican Americans, and I serve coffee from Africa and from Mexico exclusively. It was very important for us to open, if we were going to open, right? Because we didn't want to do that in the traditional sense. So which is why our home is not a traditional coffee shop. It was never supposed to be that. But it was important for me to roast coffee on site in a neighborhood where I source my coffee from. And because of where North Lawndale is so beautifully situated, I'm right in the middle of 2 beautiful communities. And now we are able to gather and commune over one thing, and that's coffee. Thank you. Thank you.
So good. I'm gonna give you a hug.
Thank you.
So good. All right, stay up here
Oh, shit.
for a little Q&A, right? Does anyone have any questions? I'm open for 2 questions. So.
Don't be shy now.
Clear.
I know.
Okay, right here.
Going back to the visual identity for your photography
Mm-hmm.
and your brand, what were some of the things that inspired you or drove you to go where you wanted to go?
Alcohol brands. So yeah, I shoot, before I launched Monday Coffee, that's what I used to shoot a lot for alcohol brands. And it's exciting. I get why people drink. Look at the ads. They're so good. I'm just like, they're having the best time ever. I also want to do that. And if this thing right here is going to get me there, then y'all know what? We are getting a bottle or whatever this is. And I was like, okay, I don't drink anymore. But I still wanted that excitement. I'm just like, well, I mean, I drink coffee at the club, so I'm just like, it's the same vibe. So I'm just like, you know what? Coffee at the club, that's the inspo.
I love that.
Yes.
Any other?
Hey.
Let me try to organize my thoughts.
Yeah.
Because
Take your
also
time.
think in
Yeah.
a variety of different ways, and also neurospicy. I know you talked about, not
It's-
also, I am, but you talked about the concept of, not knowing, if I don't know where I'm going, like how am I gonna lead you?
Yeah.
we also talked about the concept of the jack of all trades, but
Uh-huh.
maybe being interested in a variety of different
Yeah.
things, mediums. So with that, how do you identify where to focus your efforts, or identify what you are actually truly passionate about, and then figure out how to maybe divide your time up between all of these?
Absolutely. Yeah. Okay, that's a great question. And so the way that I was able to understand that and just like figure that out and am working through that currently, a friend of mine asked me, he was like, do you know why people call you? And I was like, well, people don't call me a lot. Which I like felt the way about it, but then I got over. No, I did. I was like, it's the Leo in me. I'm just like, people don't even call me. But the Taurus in me is like, I'm kind of glad y'all don't call me because y'all got a lot going on. But I was like, okay, but because people don't call me a lot, when do they? And I was like, oh, when people need things. And not in the sense of like, oh, I need money, or like, oh, I need advice. People are like, oh, no, like, I'm trying to do a thing and I don't know how to do that. I believe you know how to do this. And I'm just like, I love that you think this. I have no fucking idea what you're talking about, right? But me, I'm like, but if we think about it, it's really just like this. So we can do boom, boom, boom. And I was like, oh, got it. People call me when they have problems and I figure out how to solve them. And I'm like, got it. I exist in the role of service and I had to accept that, because that is also a very like submissive place to exist in. And that's hard. That was hard and it's still hard to understand that. But I also had to understand that the idea of submissive is then less. And we are taught that. So yeah.
Question over here.
Yeah, my name is Tondi. Thank you for sharing your story in such an authentic way. I really appreciate it. I guess I'm actually kind of building off the last question. You have a lot of identifiers next to your name, and I was wondering more specifically what the role of filmmaking plays with all the other constellation of things that you're doing.
Great question. Filmmaking is the thing I talk the least about. It is also the space where I feel the most like vulnerable and insecure, because I'm not able to lie there in a way that I am with photography. Even just like the idea of editing a film, like it's just a lot harder to manipulate a video than it is an image. But also the expectation of an image versus a video is also very different too. You also have a lot more context with the video. And also a lot more control, right? And so I think when I'm tasked with all of this in terms of like filmmaking, I'm like, oh, this is not gonna land if I'm like trying to like sell something or like beat around the bush, because it's gonna fall flat. Like I can't keep this narrative going if it's BS, right? Photography is very easy. It's a cute image, beautiful gowns, we're good. Film, you're just like, you're trying to get somebody to sit and watch something for upwards past 60 seconds. What are we doing, right? And that is where my visual identity, I think, has always wanted me to go, is filmmaking, and which is why the love of music, cinematography, and even just like people really comes from, because I'm like, oh, these are all the training blocks to ultimately get to filmmaking. So that, at this moment, that is the station, right? And I'm just on different trains to get to that station. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Felton. Give him a round of applause. Thanks for sharing your story. Do you guys feel inspired?